that's your present value of annuity. Now in this in example 5, what we plan to do is we want to see how to find payment. Alright, so often we buy things on credit. So for example, we buy car and we may have to make a payment on my car loan. Sometimes we buy a house, which is we have to make a mortgage payment on our house loans. So it's often useful to know how to find the car payment or the mortgage payment. So in this example I have for you is with regard to cars. We all love cars. Say for example, you took a loan of 20 grand from a bank and to buy a car, and the loan is for 5 years, but you need to know the monthly payment if the interest rate is 4% compounded monthly. So in the class we talked about we talked about the case when your interest is compounded monthly, semi-annually, quarterly. So this is one of those examples, right? So just like before, your N is the number of years, is 5 years, and interest rate is 4% every year, and you took a loan today of 20 grand, so that's the present value of all the future payments that you need to make. So now you need to know how much money you owe to bank. Alright, so you start with an equal sign, you go to FX, and then you go look for financial, and you look for payments. Alright, so it's the PMT function, so you click OK. Now you have to give the reference to rates. So the rate is in cell 4. But however, in this case, you need to remember that the 4% is annual interest rate. You need to convert it into monthly interest rate. So you divide it by 12. So that gives the Excel the information that this is monthly interest rate. Okay, and then N par is number of periods. So it's a 5 year. Then you have to multiply with 12 to let the Excel know that this is 60 period. The present value is what the amount of the loan you took, and future value is going to be 0 and type is going to be 0. Now if you press OK, that gives you the total car payment. So every month you need to pay $368.33, and if you make that payment for 60 months, you will be able to pay off your 20 grand loan, and you can enjoy the car that you just bought. Right now, with that, I'd like to show you something new. This is loan amortization schedule. So what it does is it tells you out of the 20 grand that you borrowed from the bank, and every month you are paying the $368.33. With the loan amortization schedule, you would be able to know how much you are paying in as interest and how much you are repaying the principal, and after each payment, how much you owe to the bank. So this is a nice little exercise that we are going to do here. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is how to construct this this table. Okay, so let me delete that because I already did that for an exercise. So alright, so let's start with period 1 and period 2 and period 3. Okay, now we want to continue it for all the way to 60 periods, because this loan is for 5 years, and in 5 years you have to make 60 payments. Alright, so one of the cool thing about Excel is that you don't have to type in like 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. You don't have to do that. So all you need to do is, since you need to do it for 60 months, so you highlight both cell 1 and 2, and you can drag it all the way down. You go all the way down to cell see, that is your cell 60. Now you just release your left mouse key, and then you have you just have all the 60 months of periods. Now we start with the beginning balance of 20,000 because that's the amount of loan that I took from the bank. So, and every time we make $368.33 to the bank. All right, so we're gonna refer this. We're gonna start with an equal sign, and we're gonna refer this payment as what we just found in the previous example. So we're gonna select. We're gonna start with an equal sign and select this cell. The cell is 3C52. That has the amount of payment, that contains the amount of payment that you have to make to the bank. So once you highlight that, you press enter, so you can see that it automatically copies the same number onto your new cell. However, this turns out to be negative, but in our exercise we can ignore the negative sign, so we will put an extra negative in front to make it a positive. Okay, so this is the amount of money that you are paying to the bank, $368.33. Now you want to know out of this money that you are paying, how much are you paying as interest? Okay, the way to do it is we pay interest over our beginning balance. All right, so we will start with an equal sign, and we are going to select the first the cell where we have the beginning balance, and we will multiply with the interest rate. Now the interest rate here is 4% annually, but we need to divide it by 12 to know how much interest I pay every month. Okay, now if I press enter, that tells me that every month I'm paying $66.67 as interest. Now out of the $368.33, if I pay $66.67 as interest, then how much I am repaying my principal. Okay, so if I subtract the interest from the payment, that leaves me the amount of money, that the principal that I'm repaying to the bank. Now once I repay this principal, I don't owe it anymore, so I can subtract the principal amount repaid from my beginning balance to come up with my ending balance. All right, now the ending balance at the end of year one, or at the end of the first month, would be the beginning balance of the second month. So we will start with an equal sign, and we're going to refer to cell that has the ending balance. Now notice that all these steps, all the inputs that I just showed you guys that I just showed you, uses a cell reference. It is very critical that you use a cell reference in this exercise. Otherwise, the beauty of Excel is that once you have all these things as a cell reference, it will you don't have to compute everything. There are some automatic functions that it will enable you to make your life easier. That's what the beauty of Excel. Now at this stage, what we are going to do is we're going to make this cell C59 constant. The reason I want to make this cell constant because I make the same payment every month. So if I don't make this cell constant, and if I just double click this, then you will see all these garbage numbers. The reason all this garbage number is coming up because Excel is trying to copy the next cell here, and the next cell contains nothing. So in order for you to do it correctly, you should make this cell constant. This is something new to you guys, and so pay attention how I do the constant thing. So you go to the cell C and put a dollar sign in front. You go to cell 52 and put a dollar sign in front. Okay, so once you press enter, then it will make the cell constant, and then if you click it, double click it, or if you copy it and paste it down the row, the values will never change. Okay, and I just showed you if you don't do this, what happens is that the Excel is trying to find the value in this cell, and this cell, and this cell, and there is nothing there. So that's why once you start copying without fixing the cell, it will give you the wrong answer. Right now, once I am done with this payment column, next move to interest column, and again the interest, you have to make sure that these the C50, the cell is fixed because the interest rate is inputted in cell C50, and you should make it constant. So once you do that, now you copy it and you paste it all the way, right? And then you will see all the zeros here because it's 0 because we don't have any beginning balance. So once we finish this worksheet, then all this value will be recalibrated. Okay, now for the next column, principal, we don't have to make the cell constant because it is just a difference between cell C and cell cell C59 and cell D59. Okay, so we can just copy it and we can just highlight this entire section and we can just paste it. Right, now in the final column is the ending balance. Again, for ending balance we don't need to make the cell constant, so we will just leave it like that and we copy and we paste it. All right, now you can see that they have all these weird numbers, and eventually these numbers will disappear because we haven't really completed the worksheet. So once we copy the first column and paste it all the way, and then you will see that it will automatically, all these numbers automatically changed. Okay, now the beauty of Excel is that you don't have to compute all these numbers by yourself. So the reason why Excel is able to compute all these by itself is because of using the cell references. So that's why it's very important to understand the use of cell reference, because if you don't use the cell reference, then you would have to do everything manually, and that's what we don't want. So we want to make efficient use of our time, so we would do one thing using a cell reference, and the Excel will understand that, and it will recalibrate the entire thing to compute the amortization schedule. Now, one thing that you should notice is that once you make your 60th payment, you'll have a zero balance in your account. That rightly so, because once you pay off the loan, you will have nothing. And the other thing that you should notice is very interesting thing that goes on is that towards the beginning part of the loan, you pay quite a bit of interest, and your interest payment goes down as you make the later payments. So the later payments are more goes towards your principal. The earlier payment a part of it goes towards your interest. So that's how all the loan amortization schedule would look like. So finally what I did here is I just wanted to know how much interest I paid over the 60 payments. So in order to do that, you can just start with an equal sign, and then you can go FX and you can add all the interest that you paid for the 60 months. So you can just you can just type, let's say you should type sum and go, it should pop up like sum, and you can select the cell, and we want to select the interest cells. So that's the whole cell, and then you press enter. It's okay. So this is the amount of interest, total interest. This is the amount of total interest that you paid over the 60 months. Okay, so just so you know that when you buy a car of a 20 grand, you have to pay a lot of interest. Okay, it all depends on your interest rate. So I know we learned something, some new cool stuff in Excel. As the first, just to recap again, there are some cases when you have to make the cell constant, just like here we have used a dollar sign in front of C and in front of cell 52. The reason is, if I don't make it constant, the Excel will try to look for value here, here, and here, and there is nothing there, and we want to make sure that every time the payment is fixed, and the payment is 368. So in order to let the Excel know that the payment is fixed, we need to make a reference to this cell, and we need to use the dollar sign. Again, when we are computing the interest, we also need to make sure that the interest rate is 4% and that cell is fixed. So there is no change in the interest rate over this period, so that's why the cell has to remain fixed. So anytime when you think that an input remains to be fixed, you need to use the dollar sign in front of it. And for the other cases like principal and finding the ending balance and beginning balance, we don't want the cell to remain fixed, so that's the reason why we didn't put any dollar sign in front of those cells. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video, and the next video we're going to do some other cool stuff. Have a good day. Bye.